Russell Brand recently was on the George Janko podcast, and they talked about a plethora of different things. But one topic that did rise to the surface was George pressing Russell on his acting career and why he is no longer in Hollywood. Now, in today's video, we're actually going to dive into this some more and see how really George is pressing on Russell to get back into Hollywood, to use that light he now has to shine in a dark place. But is what George is telling Russell something that he should be telling him? Or is George needing to kind of stay silent on this? With that being said, we're going to get into this first clip where we see George pressing Russell on this topic.
She was we were going back and forth about her acting, and she was now coming into this spirit realm where she was like, oh, I don't want to take this role. This role's like not representing what I want anymore. And she's like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be in this industry, and maybe I should, or maybe and she's going back and forth. I go, hey, okay, first of all, relax. Second of all, you have tools and talents that God's wanting to weaponize. And you do too, my friend. I don't know if you notice this, but you have a crazy acting career. You have a crazy stand-up career. You were wielding it for yourself before. Why are you not wielding it now for the Lord? And I'm not saying just go and make Christian movies. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you're in a dark place, Hollywood. And all of a sudden you start shining. And you're a beautiful light now. And now what do you want to do? You want to leave that dark room? They need Russell there.
Yes.
So as we can see, this is George saying, hey, listen, Hollywood needs Russell. You have a light. Why not go shine that light in such a dark place? You are wielding it for yourself. Now wield it for God. Russell's going to answer this question and kind of seemingly correct George on this thinking. But before he does, George does explain even deeper why he is saying this.
This is the reason why I told her, the reason what actors, true actors, what they do is they see a role and they can feel it. And they could describe to an audience that doesn't know what that feels like and put them in their shoes. They tell a story and they tell it well. Tell Jesus' story. Tell it in different characters. You could just bring his characteristics. You don't have to be the actual character.
Mm-hmm. George wants Belle, his fiance, and Russell to tell the story of Jesus in the characters that you play. There's an error with this, thinking that the characters they play, they can tell the story of Jesus in movies that are not faith-based, in non-Christian films. The actors don't have the pull and the string to create their own character. The directors and the producers are the ones who create the characters. So there's no showing Christ through these characters that you play in Hollywood. You need to be careful with thinking that we can just go in there and share Christ. Yeah, we can share the Lord and we can share the free gift of salvation to those who we're working with, our colleagues and everything like that, behind the scenes, absolutely. But Russell here is going to kind of give his final conclusions on this discussion.
I'll get famous, but once I get famous, then I'll spread the message to the people. But I didn't realize how subtle it was. It's not just to be obsessed with the material world is to sort of want fast cars and fast, cheap experiences. No, the material world is self, ultimately. Once, like the thing that I didn't see in Christianity when I was dismissing it, thinking Christianity, that's not going to work. That's for old ladies and poor people. That's no good for me, right? What I didn't see in it that was saying is that you have already got a God. You either will be worshipping this God or that God. Which one do you want? The one that can save you or the one that's going to destroy you? I didn't see that was in there because, like I told you earlier, I thought I'd read the Bible and I hadn't. I've not read it. Yeah. Like when I read it, I was like, oh my God, I have to surrender to him. So what I'm saying to you is that I went into those various institutions thinking, oh, when I get there, then I'll change it. I'll change the world from within the system. But actually, the system changed me. The system woke up that within me, which was sort of greedy and materialistic and sensual and self-centered. Or it certainly heightened that which was already there. And so now what I'm trying to think is it possible for me to walk a path where I am shown?
So Russell makes it abundantly clear. Listen, when I was going into Hollywood, I thought I was going to kind of change and expose some things and come out with all of these things. But I realized that Hollywood was changing me. That environment was changing me. And now Russell is being honest and saying, that's not for me. This industry is not for me. Yes, Russell Brand knows Jesus. Yes, Russell Brand has had this encounter with Christ. He's been baptized, all of these things. He's speaking about Christ on his podcast, on his YouTube channel, etc. But that doesn't mean that Russell needs to now go into Hollywood to a place where he has to look inwardly and say, will Hollywood try and take me over again? Will I all of a sudden just get kind of deep into that world again in a negative way? I'd rather not. Guys, that's the thing too, is we all have these personal convictions, and clearly Russell Brand has a personal conviction that says, I do not want to get back into Hollywood. I do not want to step into that industry because I know that that industry overtakes the person. The person doesn't overtake that industry. And I don't want that. I know that's not good for me. I know I'm weak in that area. And so George does need to be careful. He's done this before where he kind of presses people on and says, no, you need to be doing this. But we do have personal convictions. This may not be one of George's personal convictions, but it is for Russell. And it may not be for his fiancee, Belle, or it could be. Seems like she's wrestling with this same decision. And George needs to be careful and not push his thoughts and opinions on people who have these personal convictions in Christ, because they know themselves and they know that they're weak in certain areas. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the BTteam Ministry YouTube channel, as well as drop a like and leave a comment down below. I would love to know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, you might like this one over here.